Hey friends, this is Jennifer Terri and welcome to another Philippine travel update. So in this video is quite different. This video is meant for those who are already living abroad, former Filipinos, Balikbayans, dual citizens, Filipinos who are already permanent residents abroad, foreign nationals. This is for people who are living abroad. You have your life abroad, you work abroad. You know, Philippines is more like a second country to you now. So these are the things to consider. 3 questions to ask yourself before you buy that plane ticket to the Philippines. Alright, so the first question you need to ask yourself is, do I have time? Do you have time? See, the Philippines have their quarantine rules, just like majority of the countries in the world. Unless the country where you are coming from is a green list country, so these countries are low-risk countries, but I know majority of you are not coming from these countries. So if you are coming from these countries, your quarantine is 7 days in the hotel. That's it. But let's say you are vaccinated in the USA, you're coming from the USA, you're UK, or you're coming from UAE, or from Saudi Arabia, or from Japan. Your quarantine upon arrival in the Philippines is 10 days in the hotel. And then 4 days at home in your final destination. So let's say you are that somebody, you have that time of the year you were given 3 weeks or 4 weeks vacation and you choose to spend it in the Philippines. Well, please consider that there is a 10 days quarantine in the hotel. Okay, so let's say you have 3 weeks, 7, 14, 21 minus 10. Well, half of your stay has already been slashed, and that is you staying in the hotel by yourself in quarantine. So the national policy is that 10 days in the hotel, 4 days at the final destination. But that's not always the case. See, some LGUs have their own crazy rules. Yes po, some LGUs will not follow that 4 days home quarantine. They have their own rules. So let me share to you the experience of a foreign spouse, American, and his Filipino wife. They went home to Biliran Leyte. They're residents of Leyte. They only went to the US for like 3 months, I think. And so they went home to Leyte. They have a house there. And they already finished their quarantine in Manila for 10 days. They have their negative result. Well, upon arrival in Leyte, they were told by their local government unit, you need to quarantine for 14 days at home. Even though that they already have the negative result and the 10 days quarantine in Manila, they were still required to another 14 days home quarantine. So in total, they quarantined for 24 days. On top of that, guys, they are fully vaccinated. So that's Biliran Leyte. Check out General Santos. In General Santos, even though you have already quarantined in Manila for 10 days, you have your negative result, General Santos would say, you still need to do 7 days facility-based quarantine upon arrival. But don't worry, guys, I would say siguro mga 80% are not following these kind of crazy rules. They only recommend 4 days home quarantine. So it's best to coordinate with your local government unit of your final destination. So have one of your relatives, or if you have a friend there, just go to the barangay, ask what is the protocol for returning Filipinos from abroad. Do they still have to quarantine or what? Next thing to ask yourself, do you have money? Do I have money? Yes, unless you are an OFW, everything will be shouldered by you. So OFWs get free hotel, get free final transport, get free swab test. But if you are not an OFW, let's say you are a dual citizen, a former Filipino, a foreign national, everything will be shouldered by you. So it is expensive to travel to the Philippines. I made this survey in a group page of Filipinos, and majority of them spent more than 40,000 pesos on hotel, food, and swab test alone. So on top of that, plane tickets, it's much more expensive because the Philippines has a travel capacity, meaning there is a limited number of people allowed to arrive in the country per day. So just to give you an example, Los Angeles to Manila, round trip, July 20, and then you go back to Los Angeles, August 20, it will cost you $2,603 per person. There's another example, Vancouver to Manila. You leave on July 21 and then you go back to Canada on August 20. Total price with Philippine Airlines as of checking today is 2,767 Canadian dollars. That's per person, huh? One person only. So it is expensive to the Philippines. Another example, guys, New York to Manila. New York, you leave on July 20, you go back on August 20. Total price for one person round trip ticket is 2,653 US dollars. On top of the plane tickets, there's swab test. The swab test is 4,000 pesos or 85 US dollars. And each person, you have to pay for it. So let's say if you're a family of 4, then 4,000 pesos times 4 is 16,000 pesos. And minute children will be swabbed. Senior citizens, pregnant, will be swabbed. There was a video now of a baby that was swabbed. Oh, so heartbreaking. The youngest person I know of who was swabbed was a 2-month-old baby. So, but they got swabbed mouth, but still. Anyways, on top of the swab test, of course, the biggest expense here is the hotel. So you'll have to pre-book for 9 nights. For hotels naman, there are variety. So just to give you an example, top range hotel, Manila Marriott Hotel, around 8,800 pesos per night. And then mid-range, there's Berhaya Hotel, 2,800 with full board meals. And then there is this cheap hotels guy, Red Doors. Check out my description box if you're interested. A total price for 10 days is only 9,562. So if you're looking for budget, cheapest hotel, check out Red Doors in my description box and use my discount code. So it's expensive, but it depends on your strategy, no? But prepare at least 25,000 pesos for a solo traveler. Yes po, 25,000 pesos at least. If you're a family, naku po, prepare at least 30,000 to 40,000 pesos. Before we continue, I'd like to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of interesting classes on topics including graphic design, productivity, web development, freelance, and entrepreneurship. Whether you're looking to learn a new skill, start a side hustle, or simply be productive, Skillshare has something for you. So for example, as a YouTuber, I'm still learning a lot of things now about video production, editing, and all that. So right now I'm taking this class, YouTube Success, Script Shoot and Edit with MKHBD, Marcus Brownlee, and even if you're not into video production, a class to learn music instrument, they have that too. There's Learn Guitar by Mark Bernacle. And for all certified plantitos and plantitas, there's Plants at Home by Christopher Griffin. So there's so much variety in here. The great news is that Skillshare has partnered with us, and the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description box or in the comment section will be able to get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership for 1 month. Yay! So thank you again, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Last thing you need to ask yourself, am I patient? Do you have the patience? See, from limited flights, there are risk of flight cancellations, flight diversion, or flight rescheduling. It is very, very common. There are lucky ones like me. I did not experience any flight changes at all, thank you to Scoot Airways, but that's not always the case. A lot of our kababayans have this experience, and sometimes they have to jump from one airline to another because this airline keeps canceling, no? And sometimes their flight would be canceled and they would have to rebook. It was canceled by the airline, and then they would have to pay fare difference. And the next thing, do you have patience for the quarantine? 10 days. And on top of that, living in the Philippines feels like living in March 2020, guys. Oh my goodness, it feels like the first year of pandemic here. On top of face mask, you need to wear a face shield. And then there are lots of rules. Entering the malls, you need QR code and then spray on hand sanitizer on your hand. For girls who are particular with their hands, make sure to bring a hand moisturizer. And then every area, every month, there is a quarantine classification. There's ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, MGCQ. Let's just say level 1, 2, 3, 4. Level 1 ECQ is the strictest. But thankfully, no area in the Philippines is under ECQ. But right now, the strictest is MECQ, which where I am right now, guys. MECQ lang naman. Restaurants, dine-in is not allowed. Beach is closed. Salon is closed. I can't even get my hair done, guys. So I'm just saying, guys, if you are going home, consider the place of your destination. You're lucky if you're going home and your area is MGCQ. It's not bad. Yeah, you can do. My relatives even told me na it's almost like normal daw pag MGCQ. So good. Yung MECQ lang talaga, guys. You're somebody who's already living a normal life abroad. Let's say you are from the US or I don't know, from Singapore or European countries, because a lot of your population have already been vaccinated. You'd say, we're vaccinated na dito, normal na kami dito. That's good, but that's not the case in the Philippines. Our vaccination rate is very slow, and if you refuse to wear a mask, you could get fined, you could get called out by a police. Police powers is used to impose health protocols here. And a subscriber reached out to me. They have friends in Cotabato. Their friends were traveling in Manila and then they went home to Cotabato. At that time, Manila was having surges of COVID cases. So their LG was very strict. Interzonal travel is strict, guys. They had to quarantine in this barangay hall. They didn't have a bed, no tables at all. It was horrible. Even though they had a place to stay where they could isolate, they weren't allowed. So it's, living in the Philippines, you need to make an adjustment po if you're used to the normal life or post-pandemic life. There are rules and requirements for travel, moving from one place to another. But don't lose heart. But don't lose hope naman. This is the case right now. But according to the government, more vaccines will be arriving in this third quarter of the year. They're expecting 13 million deliveries this month and another 13 million next month. So as more vaccine arrives in the Philippines, more people get vaccinated. They ease restrictions naman, no? Starting this July, they actually introduced this Green Lanes program. It means shorter quarantine. But even though it only includes low-risk countries right now, these things are updated regularly, and we're hoping that soon more countries will be added. And just yesterday, IATF allowed vaccination card as alternative to COVID tests for local travel. So traveling in the Philippines involves getting tested. Let's say I'm from Davao, I want to go to Boracay. I need to get tested. But good news, yesterday they said if you're vaccinated, you don't need testing. You just show your vaccination card. So that's a positive move, no? So I'm just saying, right now, this is the case. It's expensive, lots of rules, lots of quarantine. But eventually, as the Philippines receives more vaccines, then they are gonna ease restrictions naman. So for those who are not going home for an emergency or highly essential reason, essential that is defined by you, okay? Going home to be with your family could be essential, important to you. So I'm not judging, guys. I'm just giving you a warning, I don't know, a guide. I went home and I've seen what's happening here. So that is all, guys. This is not meant to discourage you, but to guide you in making an informed decision. Let me know, what is your decision and when are you traveling to the Philippines? Comment down below and don't forget to like this video. God bless you and stay safe. Bye!